Good afternoon. Welcome to the webinar on PhD in Germany by the DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Service. My name is Guido Schnieders and I'm the director of the DAAD, and it's a great pleasure to have you all here and to provide information on PhD in Germany and scholarships offered by DAAD. I will have a brief presentation of maybe 20 minutes, and then we will have an extended Q&A session where you can ask questions through microphone and also through chat. Notice? Yes. How do I?
Just click the right button.
Okay, here is the the slides. The presentation topics, I will start giving you some information to Germany, to the DAAD, to different types of PhD in Germany, and then a very important question on how to find a supervisor, a student visa, on the costs of a PhD in Germany, and on PhD scholarships, on DAAD scholarships for PhD candidates. Germany is the largest member of the European Union. It has a population of 82 million inhabitants, so it's about 3 times the size of Malaysia, and among them is a Muslim population of 4 million. About 5% of the people living in Germany are Muslim. And Germany offers a quite good infrastructures to live an Islamic life. You have lots of supermarkets in the cities run by Turkish people, so that it's actually not a big problem to buy your food in supermarket where you can be sure that it is halal. The capital of Germany is Berlin, and we have a border with 9 other countries. If you study in Germany, then you can move pretty freely within Europe, because we have in Europe, in the European Union, an area of no border control. And if you study in Germany or do research in Germany, you are not alone. We have 300,000 international students in Germany going for an academic degree. The organization, we have also a rising number of Malaysian students in Germany. That is about 1,000 compared to the UK or the Australia. We are a relatively small player in the Malaysian market, but hopefully growing. Now, some information on the DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Service. That is the organization I'm representing. The DAAD is a self-governing organization by German universities. So we are a non-governmental institution, and our headquarters is in Germany. We basically receive public funding, and that means we are non-profit. DAAD maintains a worldwide network of offices, about 60 worldwide, and here you can see that Asia is a certain center of DAAD activities. Coming to PhD in Germany, there are many good reasons why you should think about doing your PhD in Germany. First of all, Germany is a country very, very famous of their very high reputed in research. German doctorates enjoy worldwide a very high reputation. We have a strong international focus. German universities offer the possibility to do PhD in English in all subjects in science and engineering and medicine, and also business and economy. It's possible to do the PhD in English, so that there is actually no language barrier. You have also good funding opportunities. Many doctoral candidates receive public funding or funding by the industry. The German research infrastructure is quite excellent. Germany has about 800 research institutions, of which 400 are universities and 400 are non-universities research institutions. As you can see on the slide, a very large number of public and academic libraries. And another reason, Germany offers you a high standard of living and a very rich cultural life, so that you definitely will not get bored, so that you have enough interesting things to do besides studying. Coming to types of PhD in Germany, coming a bit closer to how to do a PhD in Germany, it's two ways. One way is the individual doctorate, and one way is the structured PhD programs. A bit more in detail, I start with the structured programs. The structured programs actually resemble the programs in Anglo-Saxon countries. There is a little curriculum, and you are supervised by a team of supervisors. You get good advice and guidance. The structured PhD program has an overall topic, and your research proposal and the topic you're working on have to fit in this overall content topic structure of the PhD program. Also a few credit points you have to take. There is some curriculum, and there is a lot of guidance and support to enable you to finish your PhD within 3 years. As an alternative, the individual doctorate means that it's a bilateral relation. It is between you and the supervisor. Maximum flexibility. You need to find a supervisor, you need to find a professor who is willing to supervise your work. It demands, the challenge is that the individual doctorate demands a high degree of personal initiative and responsibility, maximum requirements on self-discipline and time management. Both PhDs, individual doctorate and structured PhD programs, are basically by research. So I said in the structured PhD program, there is a small curriculum, but the main thing for a PhD in Germany always is the research project you conduct. Information on structured PhD programs is actually relatively easy to find. You just look into the database on doctoral programs, the www.dad.de/international-programs, and there you find all doctoral programs which are conducted in English. It's about 250. Doctoral programs are also offered by the DFG, the German Research Foundation. You see the website in there, and by some of the research, non-university research institutes like the Helmholtz Society, www.helmholtz.de, or the Max Planck Research Schools, www.mpg.de. In order to get admission to a PhD program, you need an excellent bachelor's and master's degree. You need to prove that you have the command of the relevant language. That is, you need to have TOEFL or IELTS. And you need a good research proposal that fits in the program. Most of the time, in most of the programs, you will have to do an interview in which you make your personal motivation and your academic motivation clear. The most important aspect of the individual doctorate is you need to find a supervisor. And this is something you need to do yourself. DAD can give you advice on how to do it, but we cannot find you individual professors that supervise your PhD. And this is actually the most important obstacle for a PhD in Germany. And this is the reason why we prepared some slides on this question in order to give you information on how to find a supervisor. Now, German universities do not take tuition fees for PhD. So that means that money is actually not an issue. In a German university, different from Anglo-Saxon universities, German universities do not consider themselves as company who have to make profit. So the German professor does not have money on his mind when he decides whether he wants to take you as a PhD candidate. German professors are very autonomous. Different from Malaysian universities, we don't really have many KPI in Germany. It is like rather the structure. It is difficult to become a professor in Germany. You are going through a very tough selection process, and you need to prove that you are creative and innovative in your field. But if you are chosen, then you are pretty autonomous, because our idea of the work of a professor is that if you have an individual who is creative and innovative, and I mean, this is the job of a researcher, to be innovative, then you don't give him guidelines. You let him do where his research or her research is leading him or her. So it's not really KPI. The only reason why a professor would accept you as a PhD student is actually he or she finds your scientific work interesting. And that means two implications. First of all, you need an idea of what you want to do in your PhD. That means you need a research proposal. And second, your idea must suit the German professor's research interest. Let's talk about the research proposal. Actually, we have a seminar, we have a webinar on how to write a research proposal tomorrow at 15 o'clock in the afternoon. And maybe already some of you registered. If not, you still have the chance to register for this webinar through our website, our webinar on how to write a research proposal tomorrow afternoon at 3. You need to have a research proposal. That is the most important aspect of your application to a German professor. And this is also the most important aspect, I come to that later, of your scholarship application. If you apply for a PhD scholarship with DAD, the research proposal is in the core of everything. Make sure the research proposal is up to current international state of the art, and be thorough. Put your time in the research proposal when you want to make a PhD in Germany. This opens the door to the German professor, and this also opens the door to the to the funding. We do not only offer a webinar tomorrow on how to write a research proposal, we also offer a paper on how to write a research proposal, which I think you all got before this webinar. When looking for a supervisor, when you have an idea and a sketch of what you want to do in your PhD, you have a research proposal with a research question and a methodology, then how to find a supervisor? You need to know you look for an individual whose research interest matches yours. It is not enough just to look for professors, for example, in biology or in physics and send emails standard emails with a research proposal to many of them. Don't write mass emails. Sometimes people write me an email saying, German professor are very unpolite. I wrote to 80 professors and no answer. Yes, this is understandable. You look for an individual. You need to identify an individual in the sub field of your specialization. Get familiar with their work and link your research plan to them. And when you write an email to them, refer to their work. Write to them something like, I came across your article on this and this model, and I found this very interesting for the following reasons. May I introduce myself? I'm a young scientist working on this and this university and this topic. Your model is relevant for me for the following questions, and in my eyes, for my question on, it offers solutions, and you know, like this. Link your research plan to the work of the professor, and I'm also very optimistic that then you will be successful and you will receive an answer. Now, how do you identify German professors who work in your sub field of specialization? Face-to-face, of course, is the best. So go to international conferences. Check out conferences where there are lectures by German professors. If you are on the conference as a young scientist, approach the German professor, talk to him or her, ask him or her for a coffee. German professors come to Asia for conferences because they want to meet people. They want to meet, of course, senior researchers, but they also want to meet young researchers. If you are going to a conference, don't be shy. Approach them and ask them for a brief talk, introduce yourself, make contact. Ask lecturers at your universities, lecturers in Malaysia who have studied in Germany or who have research cooperation with Germany. Ask them for professors, get recommendations, get introduced. That, of course, helps a lot. If your lecturer at your university writes to the German professor, I've got a gifted young scientist here and would like to make a link. Check the literature of your master thesis. Maybe there is a German professor whose work you already read. That makes it more easy for you to link your scientific work to him or her. In addition, there are a number of websites that will help you. www.research-in-germany.de offers a wealth of general information on research in Germany. I very much recommend this to you. They also have special websites for PhD in Germany. Then the Research Explorer, www.research-explorer.de, is an online directory for information on research institutes in Germany and in German universities and non-university. Searchable according to different criteria, so that you can try to find research institutes specializing in your field of expertise. Very useful, the Research Explorer. You should certainly visit it. Two more websites, www.phdgermany.de contains information on PhD in Germany, and very interesting, there is a number of PhD positions advertised. It's not comprehensive, so not all PhD positions in Germany are advertised here, but you'll find a list, and it's very certainly worth to have a look. Maybe it's the right one for you there. And finally, www.dfg.de/GEPRIS. GEPRIS means German Project Information System, and this is an online database on research projects. Of course, it's not comprehensive. You cannot have a database on all research projects in Germany, but all research projects funded by the German Research Foundation, and that is actually the most important body in Germany which distributes money for research on a national level. So you will find many, many research projects, and this is also a very convenient, easily searchable database. And there you look for research projects in your field, recently completed or ongoing. And then you can look for the professors involved in the research projects and go to their website and find out whether they work in your field. So this is how to do it. This is how you find a supervisor. You need visa for studying in Germany. That is actually not a big problem for Malaysians. That is pretty straightforward. You need admission to a German university. You need a letter of admission or a letter of confirmation by a German professor. You need the necessary proof of the language requirements. That is TOEFL or IELTS. That is for Malaysians also no problem. Just do it. But the command of English here in Malaysia is on a very high level, so that should not be a problem. And you need to prove that you have the money for the first year. That is 8,000 euro for the first year. And the rest is paperwork. Please go to the website of the German Embassy for details. Money matters. Of course, money always matters. But in Germany, it is actually, compared to other leading higher education systems, very affordable. In Germany, we have no tuition fees. So that means if you go for PhD to Germany, you do not need to expect tuition fees. There is a small semester contribution, but in general, the fees at the no fees at the university. Living costs in Germany are around 670 euro per month. That is student's lifestyle. So you're not going to be very wealthy, but you can achieve your goal if you have that money. That is at the moment around 36,000 ringgit per year, which is less than the tuition fees in the United Kingdom. You need a health insurance, which is also quite affordable. So actually, if you think about going to Germany for a PhD in Germany without funding, it is, compared to other international destinations, quite affordable. You are allowed to work in Germany. During your studies, it is legal to work 120 full days per year or 240 half days. And if you have a job on campus, if you have a job in the university, like as some part-time assistant of the professor, then there is no limits. I honestly have to say that 240 half days or 120 full days is actually a lot. Doing a PhD in Germany is a challenge, and it is very highly reputable. You have a very high academic level, but it also is a challenge. You will need your time to do your PhD. So you can work, that's good news. You can earn some of the money you need nearby, but do not expect that you can work 40 hours per week, that you can do a full-time job and do a PhD nearby. You need your time for a PhD. So you can earn some of the money that you need, but not all of it. After your graduation, after you earned your PhD from Germany, you can you have easy access to the German labor market. You can stay for 18 months to look for employment. And now my last point. I would like to invite you to consider applying for our PhD scholarships for PhD candidates, DAAD scholarships for PhD candidates. We have two types of these scholarships. It is the first type is PhD in Germany. In this case, the PhD is awarded by the German university, and you need to follow the rules and regulation of the German university. That means you go to Germany and conduct a research project there with the task to gain an internationally highly reputed doctorate from a German university. 3 years, the scholarship is awarded for 3 years. So you need a research proposal and a time plan that is planning to complete the PhD in 3 years. Requirements, master's degree, good bachelor's degree, no more than 6 years between master and the start of the PhD studies. You need TOEFL or IELTS if you want to do it in English, and admission to a structured PhD program or confirmation of supervision by a German professor. Application deadline for these scholarships is October 31. The second type of PhD scholarship we offer is the so-called binationally supervised doctorate. That is a combination of research periods in Germany and in Malaysia, and the PhD in the end is awarded by the Malaysian university. You spend between 12 and 24 months for research in Germany, so it's a long-term scholarship. You need to make a plan for at least 12 months, maximum 24 months. You can distribute these 12 to 24 months like you want. That means you can have, for example, 2 times 9 months. That is up to the needs of your research. And in your research proposal, you need to describe when and why you want to spend time in Germany. That means, for example, maybe in the German university, you have a very high-end laboratory equipment, which you need for conducting your laboratory work. And that means that you will spend time, for example, in Malaysia, raising the data, and then you will go to Germany for the lab work, and then you will return to Malaysia to write the thesis. Or you have contact to a German professor with a very particular model, with a very particular theory you need. Then you might go to Germany in the beginning to discuss this model, to learn about this model, to implement it onto your PhD. Maybe then back to Malaysia to raise data and analyze the data, and later when it comes to the advanced process of data analysis, then go back to Germany to discuss how to apply the model. It needs to be well-founded when you spend time in Germany, and it can also be split. Requirements as well: you need master's and bachelor's degree, no more than 3 years between the start of your PhD studies and the commencement of the scholarship, and you need to be enrolled as a PhD student in a university in Malaysia. That already need to be done. You need to be accepted in Malaysia, and confirmation of supervision by a professor in Germany. Again, PhD would be awarded by the Malaysian university, so you have to follow the Malaysian rules and regulations, not the German. The selection is for these scholarships is always done by independent committees of scientists from the relevant fields, and the most important selection criteria is your research proposal, the convincing and well-planned research proposal. Or if you already have written some research articles, it is of course advantageous, but not necessary. If you already speak some German, for example, of course it's a plus, but not necessary. If you have written articles and you speak German, but your research project is mediocre and boring, you will not get the scholarship. You can do without German, you can do without research papers if your research project is innovative, if the commission says that candidate has an idea there and is well gifted. So spend your time, invest your time on the research project, on the research proposal. That is the most important aspect. The selection for Malaysia is done based on paper. That means at the moment we do not have interviews. So that makes your research proposal even more important, and a good contact to the German supervisor. That is my presentation. Was a minute longer than 20 minutes. Thank you very much for your attention.